Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be about a few Eufy products that I've actually purchased, and before you start wondering, no, these have not been sent to me. This is not a sponsored video or anything like that. Basically, as some of you will know, obviously I'm very much into my Apple HomeKit sort of ecosystem, and because of that, basically I've been looking into certain elements of my setup, and the cameras and also my doorbell were something that basically it's never really pleased me with the current setup that I actually have, and I've been putting off actually going towards the more premium end of the market when it comes to DIY security systems and cameras. But basically, having looked into quite a few different options, I've decided to give the Eufy security system a go. And the main reason for this is with the advancements with tvOS 14 and also iOS 14. So basically, one of the new things coming to tvOS 14 will be the fact that any HomeKit doorbells will actually show up on screen whenever they're actually rung on the actual TVs that may be on at that time. So that's something that really appealed to me. As I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, I do order quite a lot online, and Amazon's basically my normal go-to for ordering stuff, and basically just in terms of not missing any deliveries, and also just general security and things like that as well. The video doorbell is something that obviously I'm looking forward to actually trying out. Now, with regards to the cameras, obviously these are the battery powered cameras. My current setup, both of my cameras, my security cameras, are inside and they're shining through windows, and that just presents a whole host of problems with regards to glare, mounting options, how you run the wires, hard wiring them, all that kind of stuff. So I thought these would be good products just to have a look at. So what I'll do is today's video should just be the unboxing, and then further down the line, once I've actually got everything set up, I'll actually do full reviews on each one, giving my thoughts and opinions after I've used them for a little while, because I don't really like to do reviews straight away, even if it is a case of having used them for maybe a day or two when you first get the device and you're all excited about them. These did come quite late today. I was expecting these to arrive around 2 p.m. But it's just gone past 6 p.m. now. So I've got maybe 3 hours worth of daylight left. So I may opt to actually install the doorbell and then possibly set up the cameras but not actually install them in the locations. Main reason for that is basically I have exterior wall insulation, and if I do a installation video, I'll try and point out some of the problems that actually presents, because basically you can't actually screw any type of fixings into the actual insulation. I mean, you can put the fixing in, but it just won't be sturdy, and more than likely anything that you fit, if it's got any type of weight to it, will probably come down. I mean, we even found that one of our drain pipes, the fixings that were originally applied for that, and they did actually use the correct fixings, even that came down, simply because we did have quite bad weather at that time. But even that aside, it came down mainly because the insulation basically just doesn't hold it, and there's no MDF or anything in between the render and the actual insulation. So for that reason, basically they ended up just coming down. So first thing I'll do is, the box and everything remind me very much of my Orbi router. So in terms of this sort of bluish box, the color is slightly different, but essentially this looks very much like the Orbi setup that I actually had. So with regards to the packaging, that's the doorbell. And now the one thing that I was kind of confused about with regards to Eufy products was the fact that you actually get the hub with the doorbell, and then you also get the hub with the cameras as well, and they don't actually have any setup even on their website. I did actually check initially through their website, and they don't actually have any options whereby you can choose to have both the doorbell as well as the 365 camera set up, and basically just combine them. Whenever you do any type of package package deal essentially, what you end up getting is very much different in terms of they'll normally throw in other sensors and motion sensors and things like that, and door sensors, and I don't need any of those because they're the one things that I will be keeping. So initial impressions in terms of unboxing. So what I'll do is I'll do the doorbell first. So as you open it, a little bit cardboardy, but obviously that's what you come to expect. So initially on top, this is probably going to be the pamphlets and everything. So it's got the little pull tab there. You take that out, and what I'll do is I'll just quickly take a look at this. So in here you've got some templates for mounting, a few stickers, very thick manual, and that's about it. Right, next you're presented with the actual doorbell itself. So I think this may actually be smaller than the current one that I actually have there. The one that I have there currently isn't anything special. It's literally just a generic one. It did the job, but obviously it didn't really you weren't able to actually use it with any type of smart home setup. So it doesn't work with HomeKit or even Amazon Alexa or anything like that. So or Google. So for that reason, obviously it wasn't really ideal in the long term. It served its purpose. So the hub, I'm actually pleased to say, is smaller than I was expecting. I was actually thinking that this was going to be a lot bigger. We'll wait and see whether the actual camera's hub is identical or whether it is slightly different. So first row, that's what you get. And then if we just pull out that packaging, just drop that to a side, we have another little box, and I'm guessing this is going to be all your mounting kits. And yeah, so you've got your cable, that's for your initial setup. They have included both I think that's US as well as a UK plug, and then they come with the kind of quite a big chunky power adapter. And the one thing that I am curious about is to which way round it actually makes the plug go, because one thing I don't like about these particular types of plugs is usually they end up being mounted in, yeah, so this unfortunately is one of those. So maybe not. Some of them depends where I actually put it, but generally in the UK we want it that way, so we want it so then it's facing down, whereas with a lot of these they tend to be facing up, and that's fine with wall outlets. But where it does present a problem is whenever you're actually connecting these onto a power strip, you'll basically, this is opposite to everything else. So for that reason, it's not ideal, but hopefully these will be hidden away anyway. So you get your cable, you get your mounting bracket, as well as I believe this is a 15-degree wedge, and that is literally just to offset it slightly to whichever side you want it. So obviously with this, it'll be that way up, and you, depending on which way you want this, you either put it that way or you flip it over and put it that way, and it'll turn the opposite way. So that's all nice and straightforward. We do get some fixings. That's obviously for hard wiring. I won't be hard wiring this because in this house I don't have a hardwired doorbell. And what else have we got in here? So this, I believe, will be your charging cable, which should be a micro USB. Yeah. So if we just take a look on the back of this, yeah, micro USB, you can just about see there. And then the final thing in here is the actual little pin for taking or removing the actual doorbell. So this I'm not so pleased about. The current doorbell that I actually have has a little Torx head screw on it. So whilst it is a bit more awkward, in the kit that came with that one, what they do is they actually provide you a L-shaped, so basically just a long bar with a little twist on the end of it, tool to actually remove it with. And the good thing about that is, obviously with it being Torx, it's more likely, well, less likely that somebody's going to actually remove it. With this, theoretically, anybody who knows anything about Eufy could literally just bring a pin along with them, and then obviously just poke it in, and it's just there that you actually poke it through. So essentially what I'll do is I'll just So it snaps in like that, and then what you do to remove it is you literally just pop it in, and as you can see it releases the bottom, and then you should be able to pop the doorbell off. But in theory, anybody who's got any knowledge on this could literally just come to my house with any pin, and this is almost like a SIM ejector tool, so anybody with a SIM ejector tool could literally just poke that in there and there you go. But thankfully, obviously, with the fact that it records separately, you would still have coverage of that. So that is everything to do with the doorbell. So what I'll do is I'll just put that aside and then we'll take a look at the camera. Okay, so here we are back with the Eufy Cam 2 kit, and this is the 2 camera kit. What I may do somewhere down the line is actually purchase a third one, but what I will do is wait and see in terms of how the doorbell actually performs, because I may not need it if the doorbell, basically I wanted one also to cover my front path, just basically the path down to my front door, and depending on how wide the angle is on these, once mounted outside, I may find that I don't actually need that third one, but we'll wait and see. So similar sort of presentation. I do like it when companies are consistent with packaging. This one, the tab is not quite as good, so that didn't want to actually release in the way that it does normally, so it's actually pushing the wrong way as opposed to coming up. But what we'll do is so instantly you've got a SIM ejector tool, and what we'll do is we'll just quickly pop this open and take a look at what we get. So in here you literally get some stickers, you get a Apple HomeKit card with the actual code on it. Now, even though this is branded, and if you take a look at the packaging, they've made it very obvious that it's Apple HomeKit compatible. The doorbell should also be HomeKit compatible. However, I don't know whether that literally just branches through this particular hub and it works that way, or whether it's just all packaging and the fact that they'd already produced all these. But I have been told that the doorbell is HomeKit compatible and should show up in HomeKit. So once you've got all of the paperwork and everything out, what you're presented with essentially is the hub, which, let's take a look. So on the left is the one from this packaging, on the right is the one from the doorbell. Size wise they're exactly the same, and I'm guessing internally they will also be exactly the same. If anything, it's good the fact that I can have 2 of these. If they do work in the way I want them to, then hopefully this should actually mean that I get better coverage around my house. From the front of my house to the back of the house, obviously there's a lot of solid brick walls and everything in between there. So the one worry that I did actually have was the fact that if I mount the camera right at the front of the house, basically covering my driveway, whether the system would actually have enough coverage to also pick up the ones at the back of the house. Essentially, even if they do work off Wi-Fi, the main thing that I was actually concerned about was the fact that the battery life on these particular cameras is supposed to be better if you have good coverage and good reception. So obviously it's not the fact that they're really going to die out really fast or anything, but obviously the better battery life you can get out of it is always welcome. So first impressions on the camera, it's heavier than I was expecting. So I was expecting it to be almost very tinny, plasticky. So okay, first thing of note is, okay, so it's just a bit of dirt on the actual plastic itself. So that I think is literally just from this mold and literally just pushing into there. So no real concerns with that. They're going to be mounted outdoors anyway, so it's not as though it's a real big issue or anything. But so up front we have a few sensors. You've got a microphone. The lens itself looks quite relatively small for a 1080p sensor, but it is supposed to be one of the better sensors, one of the Sony sensors, so picture quality should be quite good. What does it actually say on here? So charging wise, 5 volt 2 amps, so basically 10 watt charging, and just some product, some manufacturer details. So there's the 2 cameras. Now it does come with a couple of mount options, and whilst you can use the magnetic mount, what I would probably do is, depending on where I mount these, I may actually opt for the magnetic mount, or I may go for the threaded mount. Right, so let's get this unboxed and see what's inside here. Right, so here is the actual magnetic ball mount. Oh yes, that is very strong. So if you see here, right, when it's that distance apart, that's where it actually starts pulling. So probably a couple of centimeters away, it's going to actually start pulling it. So in terms of, if anybody's worried about actually using these particular mounts, unless you've got really high winds, I wouldn't be too worried about this coming off, because that was the one concern about using this particular mount, is the fact that it could possibly come off. With the positions I'm going to mount it, obviously these, even though it says a year, more than likely they're not going to last a year with my usage, simply because I have so much foot traffic around the front of my house. So depending on how that goes. Right, and I do like this. So when you're actually threading this in, it doesn't actually relate to the base of the unit, so you don't have to kind of figure out where it's going to tighten before you mount this, essentially. So they're the two mount options. Obviously one, if you take a look at it, depending on where you mount it, if you need it to actually be a bit more of a lower profile, then the magnetic mount is a viable option. But as I say, I'll see how that goes with the one on the front drive. And it may also come down to how much actual rotation and everything I have in these as to where I actually mount it. At the moment, that's, yeah, so it does stiffen up, but it's not like this where you can literally just position it and it will stay there. But then again, this one, obviously, if you do have really high winds, then that could potentially be an issue. Only other thing that I've really noticed is there was a little bit of a wobble. Yeah, so this is essentially what actually locks the mechanism into place, and then what that does is it literally goes into these, it goes into these two holes here, and that's what actually stops it from spinning round, essentially. Right, so what else do we get in the box? So we get two mounts for each camera, so you can choose between each one. Once again, you get the Ethernet cable, so when you initially set this up, it does have to be hardwired, but after that you have the choice whether you want to actually take it off and use it wirelessly. What I'll probably do is, I've got quite a few of my Orbi routers stashed around the house, spread out throughout the house. So I've got three essentially actual router nodes, if you like. So what I'll probably do is I'll test it on Wi-Fi, but ideally I would prefer it hardwired. So with this plug, I'm thinking possibly it's going to be a similar thing where, or maybe with this one, I'm hopeful, no, is the same. So obviously you've got your different sizes there, so it will only go in one direction, and once again your cable is facing upwards as opposed to being that way. But hopefully with this it shouldn't be too much of an issue. You've got some mounting and fixings and some wall plugs, and that will be once again the charging cable. I don't really need to take these out because I've got quite a few wireless chargers around the house, and I can they're also micro USB as well, so I can just use those. That's why I've not actually unboxed any of those. So that is a very messy first look at all of the products. As I said, none of these, this isn't a sponsored video or anything like that. However, what I have actually done since actually buying all of these is I have actually signed up for Eufy's affiliate program. So what I will be doing is I'll be leaving both Amazon links for all the products I've purchased, as well as Eufy links as well. Both of those from on occasion will actually have different types of discount. So even though what I'll do is I'll put on screen the prices that I actually paid for these, and basically there was, at the time I purchased, there was also a 10% discount. Now the reason I went through Amazon as opposed to directly through Eufy was at the time of me ordering, the Eufy website wouldn't actually allow me to put in a 10% 10% discount for both this kit as well as the doorbell kit. It only let me use one or the other, whereas through Amazon it was literally giving me 10% off both. So essentially it worked out cheaper for me to go through Amazon. But as I said, what I'll do is in the description down below I'll leave links for both Eufy as well as Amazon. As I said many times, all my affiliate links, it doesn't cost you any extra. If anything, with Eufy ones, I have been told that from time to time it'll actually be cheaper for you to use an affiliate link for a Eufy affiliate essentially, and you may actually get a further discount on top of that. I do also have codes for Eufy with regards to several of their products, and essentially the way that that works is as soon as you enter that code and use it, you get a £40 discount on certain products. But alongside that is obviously the affiliate links as well, so those ones themselves can sometimes get a 10% discount as well. The actual percentage will vary. Obviously the more I sell, the more ammunition essentially I have. If I am doing well, then obviously I can go back to them and I can use that to try and get all you guys out there, firstly better pricing, but also probably something that I would have actually benefited from, which was a more customized bundle. Even through their website, when you actually go to customize what you want, you can choose this kit, you can choose the doorbell, but it will still give you 2 of the base stations. So in order to get the cost down, I think if they had something set up where you can literally go in and just choose how many cameras, how many base stations, how many doorbells, whether you want the wired, the non-wired, all of these kind of things. So that's something that obviously once I've got some people buying and some people interested, then it gives me power to actually go back to Eufy and obviously investigate all those things and hopefully make it a better experience for everybody. As I say, I will have separate reviews coming for both products, so look out for those on the channel. Before that, what I'll probably do is a introduction video with regards to how I've actually added everything to HomeKit and the initial setup, and then the full review will actually follow after. So I will do a initial first setup video, and then the following video I'll probably do maybe 3 months, 6 months down the line, the full review. I may do a small review with basically first thoughts, but I want to give it a little while before I actually do a full review. As always, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of those videos. And also if you hit the bell icon, it'll mean that you're notified and you won't end up missing any. And as always, thanks very much for watching.